Ladies and gentlemen, you asked for it. I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. A daily show giving you 5 things every morning you need to know about the market. And today's show is literally a banger. So much stuff. I literally had to pick the best 5 because there was so much going on. Nikola with a weird ass deal with Trevor. Something insane. I've never seen anything like this. Apple Car. Oracle. And of course, we can't forget the Credit Suisse Archegos backlash. It's now even worse. And I got a stock for you, which I'm insanely excited about. I want to show you some numbers that will blow you away. That's my pick for one of the best stocks for this year. I'm going to show you why. And if this is your first time here are the rules. There's nothing to smash, nothing to click. Just listen up. My name is Tom. I used to be a senior financial analyst. Now I'm a full-time YouTuber and I'm sharing with you my knowledge about the stock market, financial world, and economics. All you gotta do in this video is just listen. Don't click anything. First of all, let's start with Apple and the Apple Car. Tim Cook actually had a very interesting interview where he got asked a lot of interesting questions. It was pretty much everything you wanted to ask Tim Cook for the past decade and you couldn't. And even though Tim Cook tends to be a little bit mysterious and not always direct in his answers, in this interview, he actually was quite open by his own standards. And of course, he also got asked about the Apple Car. And he didn't say it's not going to happen, which is actually surprising. In fact, he hinted that it actually might happen by saying something in the lines, well, we like the idea, we like hardware and software, autonomy is the future. Essentially, that's his way of saying, well, we're thinking about it or we're actually trying to get it done. I don't know exactly how fast it's going to happen. I'm thinking that they probably will do some sort of a JV with an actual legacy manufacturer because setting this whole up from zero would be insanely hard. I think that Apple are in the hunt for a hardware manufacturer, maybe Hyundai, maybe somebody else, and they're going to bring their tech, their electronics to actually create this brand with a kind of a white label collab. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it's very interesting because Apple have a good track record in selling value, which means they're not going to make a cheap $25,000 car. It's going to be a premium product, and I'm really excited to see what they have in store for us. And now moving on to Nikola. And this thing is a head scratcher if I've ever seen one in my life. I want to show you this article from Seeking Alpha just because I want you to see I'm not making this shit up. Check this out. Nikola is lower on the day after founder Trevor Milton sells more shares in his former company. And check this out. He sold 3.5 million shares for $14 for goods and services. And at this point, I gotta ask myself, what kind of goods and services this man needs that cost $48.5 million? Are you buying a country, Trevor? What the hell is this? I've never heard of anything similar. In fact, what I'm thinking here that it might be some massive purchase, maybe a plane or a boat or a country, I don't know. But I've never heard of a founder liquidating shares at $14 or just shy of $14 when the original price was in the 80s for some sort of goods and services. Beyond the fact that I honestly don't know who would take Nikola shares over cash. It has to be a massive discount because at this point, it doesn't seem like a good investment or a good transaction if I'm the purchaser in this deal. But again, I don't know exactly what's going on, but this barter transaction is one of the weirdest shit I've ever seen. And we've seen a lot of weird stuff coming out of Nikola. So that's a pretty high standard. Never seen anything like this. I'm excited to find out what the fuck did he just buy. I honestly don't know. And now let's talk about the tragic character in this Greek drama, Credit Suisse. Archegos Capital, by the way, Archegos is a Greek name. That's why I used that first reference. Archegos Capital left a lot of people bag holding. Specifically, one of the main bag holders was Credit Suisse. Now we find out that it was much worse than they initially reported. Check this out. Again, from Seeking Alpha. Credit Suisse takes $4.7 billion hit from Archegos disaster / his dividend. Oh my God, less dividend. But check this out. Fallout from the Archegos affair keeps making headlines at Credit Suisse. It logged a $4.7 billion hit following the meltdown of the investment firm. Credit Suisse investment banking and risk chiefs will also get the boot. And by the way, I'm never happy to see people go home and get fired, but this is a major boo-boo. Any risk management department that I can think of in any mid-sized bank would have never let this happen. This is insanely unusual. I honestly can't fathom how they let this happen. And check out this sentence. The Swiss bank also scrapped proposals for executive bonuses for the year. Oh my God, no bonuses for the executive. At least in Credit Suisse, they don't give out bonuses when they fuck up. In other countries, and you know which I'm talking about, you actually get bonuses even when you screw up badly. Now, check this out. Archegos Capital was a meltdown of epic proportions, and as I mentioned in my vacation videos originally, this is going to get much worse than we initially knew. And here's the first sign of that. There's probably going to be more of these. Information will be coming out slowly, showing you the mega impact of this meltdown, because this ain't over yet. Credit Suisse is just the beginning. Now, let's talk about SAP. Why do I want to talk about SAP? Well, because SAP is actually taking over Oracle as the financial software of Google. Massive, massive news. And at this point, I just want to let you know, I was one of the guys who talked about Oracle way back in January. On my Patreon feed, this is from January 17th, I posted about 3 companies that will explode this quarter. And I was talking about Oracle, Microsoft, and Salesforce. And as you can see here, these were my target prices for each of these 3 companies. Oracle from $62 to $70, CRM, which is Salesforce, from $213 to $260, and Microsoft from $212 to $225. Now, if you take a look at the share prices, you'll see that Oracle did quite nicely, 20%. You'll see that CRM, which is Salesforce, actually lost 3% from my initial price. But Microsoft has gained 17% since my initial post. And if I can say so myself, I think it's a pretty good result for me at least. Making 17% on Microsoft and 20% on Oracle in 3 months, it's pretty good, even though there's a 3% hit on Salesforce, which I think will actually go positive. Now, since both of these companies, Microsoft and Oracle, actually hit my target prices, let me show you here in this spreadsheet, which includes every single stock I talked about, which you can actually download on my Patreon page. Both these stocks, Oracle and Microsoft, crossed my target prices. Oracle is just about to hit $75, and Microsoft actually exceeded by already $5 my original target price. Now, at this point, as you know, my methodology is to reevaluate and see if I want to raise my target price or liquidate my position. Now, since Oracle just got replaced with SAP as the main financial software for Google, I think it's a bad trend for this company. I think it's bad news to come for this as far as the next 5 years. If it already hit my target price and it seems like the trend is to pull away from Oracle for these big corporations, I'm going to liquidate my position. It seems like this is going to go downhill from now. So I'm completely selling my Oracle position and I'll be removing it from the chart since I'm done with it. I did my profit and I'm out. For Microsoft, I'm actually staying in for the long haul. I'll be raising my target price to $275. I'm going to explain why in a separate video, but I'm completely staying in Microsoft for the long haul. Their actual acquisition of Discord, if happens, it's not going to make them the king of gaming. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it solidifies their presence in the gaming world and opens up more exposure for social media, which is really important. I think Discord is really undervalued. I think it's a good deal for Microsoft. And now let's talk about one stock I'm extremely excited about, which is TSMC, ticker TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor. That's the biggest and most innovative chip manufacturer in the world. They're currently holding over 50% of the entire market. And by 2025, they're going to be holding anywhere from 60 to 70% of the market. With their level of innovation and their capacity, it's going to be pretty much a monopoly in the whole chip game. I think it's a massive company. I see $180 per share by 2022. I'm going to show you a full DCF. Hang on. But you know, I always give you the target price first. I don't want to hold you hostage, none of that stuff. Now, check this out. They're also investing over $100 billion in increasing their capacity over the next 5 years. Now, that's a lot of money. Imagine if you're the CEO and the board of this company. Would you invest $100 billion if you would think that the demand is not going to be there? I don't think so. As you just heard in my previous video, the shortage of chips will continue at least to the mid of 2022. So it's not going to go away anytime soon. The demand is still going to be there. And a lot of people talking about, well, Intel are building their facilities. I agree. Intel is becoming a player in this industry, but there's plenty to go around, especially for Intel so far behind. They're going to be fighting for scraps. I think TSMC is going to be the main player. I see a 25% upside until the end of 2021 and 45% upside in the stock price until the end of 2022. Let me show you my DCF. Okay, so this is the DCF, and before we get started, I want to show you something really interesting. As you notice, the tax rate here is 20%, not 21, not 28. That's because they're in Taiwan. In Taiwan, not only the rate is nominally lower than the US, and it's not going to go up to 28%, the effective rate that actual companies pay in Taiwan is much lower than in the US. And just to show you what I mean, just take a look at Intel. Intel is taxed in the US. Their nominal tax rate is 21%. But their effective tax rate is 16%. Traditionally, that's because of loopholes, deductions, and all that stuff. Now, TSMC, which is Taiwan Semiconductors, actually have an effective tax rate traditionally of about 11%. Now, for the purpose of this DCF, I'm going to keep it at 20. But just to show you, they have a massive tax advantage. Imagine post-Biden 28% factoring into their competitors. It's going to be a pandemonium. Now, hold on a second. As you can see here, we have a pretty nice increase in EBITDA over the next 5 years. Reason being that you have to understand that TSMC have some very solid clients. Apple is just one example. A cyclical business. Every year they got a new phone, new technology, new chips. The demand is only going to go up. At least for the next 2 to 3 years, the demand is going to be massive. It might slow down later, but they have so much cyclical clients like Apple. I don't see this company slowing down anytime soon. We used a 10% discount rate, a 4% perpetual rate, and a 10.5 multiplier because it's actual industrial and not tech. And here we have the actual prices, which is something you're all waiting for, which is $180.40. This is by the end of 2022. 45% upside. And that is why, for me, that's one of my favorite stocks going into this year. I think it's going to be massive. I'm going to be personally buying a shit ton of it. But again, it's just my opinion. It might be inaccurate. It might be wrong. It might be the ramblings of a madman. Who knows? You got to do your own research. Do it. Find out for yourself. Allegedly. Blah, blah. Mother effing blah. And as always, a huge thank you for the channel members and the Patreons for making this possible. I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. We'll see you guys in the next video.